January 7th, 2020, a special report right here at Third Phase of Moon. Experts from the Navy, from Lifeguards, explain their UFO sightings, including a follow-up with Dr. Michael Salla. All right, it's been about 40 years since I met my buddy Johnny Angel. We grew up on the North Shore and went to the same elementary school, but I'm here on the North Shore to let you know about the UFO sightings along the coast here. And Johnny says he's seen some strange activity over the ocean right over here, and I want to get his thoughts. And tell us about your sighting, Johnny.
Yeah, we just see some crazy lights. My mom and I always trip out on them, moving fast, doing irregular movements down to the water, back up really fast and high, right, left, all kinds of activities. And we're just, I'll pull out the binoculars and see if I can see any kind of details on it. But it's definitely some activity that we're not sure what it really is.
So basically, you've been working as a lifeguard here for almost 30 years now, and I'm sure you've seen a lot of action. What do you think? Is it a military exercise, possibly experimental aircraft out there? Is it coming from somewhere else?
It could be. We always think if it's a Coast Guard or military doing training with helicopters, but we don't see the strobe lights or any kind of, red or green. So it's just only white lights and moving really fast.
How fast would you say these things are?
And you can't hear them at all. So that's another, question of like what it really is.
What's your eyesight over here? Because I know you got really good vision. You know what conventional aircraft is. So obviously you're seeing something out there. What's your vision here?
Oh, I'm 2013. So I got really good vision. Yeah.
All right. Well, so there's all kinds.
How fast are these things moving?
So how fast would these craft approximately be moving, in your opinion?
Hard to clock it, but it's definitely the fastest I've ever seen anything move. So it's off the charts.
I've had my own sighting out here when I was about 10 years old. Our dad told us to come out and take a look at these lights, and they're moving from one edge to the other, probably doing about 10-mile jumps within split seconds. This is what kind of the Navy's been explaining about the Tic Tac UFO. Have you ever heard of the Tic Tac?
I have vaguely, but don't know much about it.
So these things, the Navy pilots, they've explained and actually caught on film about these things moving at tremendous speed, and it's in the form of a Tic Tac. Did your craft look like a Tic Tac at all?
Could be, yeah, sure. Inverted Tic Tac?
Mm-hmm. Exactly,
okay.
Yeah. Well, Johnny, you keep your eyes on the skies, but, do your job as well. You're the lifeguard. You've saved hundreds of people out here. Keep up the good work, Johnny. It's been good seeing you 40 years later, my friend.
Yeah.
Right on,
bro. Good to see you guys, too.
Yeah, well, everybody, stay tuned. We've got more UFO sightings, and when you're on the North Shore, come by and say hi to Johnny Angel.
Nice. Right on, guys. Out.
We're going to be speaking with a Navy veteran that served on the USS Dubuque in regards to an incredible sighting he witnessed in the Pacific. Hey James, thanks for joining us right here at Third Phase Moon. I would like to get into detail of what happened aboard the Navy vessel right here off the Pacific.
So it was early autumn of '86, and my ship was the USS Dubuque. It was home ported in Sasebo, Japan, and we were out of Sasebo bound towards the South China Sea.
Could you go more in depth on the description of what you experienced that night?
Well, what we used to do is, after watches, eve watches, that ended about 10, 11 at night, we'd go above decks outside the ship, which we weren't even really supposed to, and we do exercise. We do a workout. And often we'd stargaze, because a ship at sea, a Navy ship at sea at the time, runs completely darkened, and you can have a great view of the sky. And what happened one night is I looked up and I saw what appeared to be a star at first, a bright star, but then it started moving in these incredible, flying across the horizon from one end to the other and doing these figure-8 patterns and circles, and it was just, never seen anything like it.
Okay, so while you witnessed this, what was your reaction to what you witnessed? What was your prior thought of UFOs, and what did you do immediately after this sighting?
I had absolutely no belief in them whatsoever. I was baffled by what I was looking at. At first I thought perhaps it was a firefly above my head, but then I realized we were 2, 3, 4 days at sea in the middle of the ocean, and what I was looking at was very high up in altitude. And when I saw the motions it was making, I realized it had to be traveling at tens of thousands of miles an hour. It was faster than anything I'd ever seen, faster than even a meteorite.
Tell us about these angles that this unidentified object was, how it maneuvered.
It was, first it kind of rocketed back and forth, and then it started doing almost like an infinity pattern, if you will. Then there was some circles involved, and it moved crazily across the sky.
What was the response from your fellow shipmates to this experience you just had, and did they witness it themselves?
What I did is I went up to what was known as the 04 level, and that's where the lookouts were on the signal bridge. And I asked the guy on watch if he could see what I was seeing. I thought maybe I was seeing things, and he saw it too. But to my surprise, he wasn't really interested in it so much. He said, maybe it's a shooting star or something, and that didn't make any sense to me because it was just going back and forth. But he was totally disinterested in it. I was very surprised. Well, later in the week, I came across a message while working in the document destruction room of all places, and I saw that it was a report that had been forwarded from the Japanese self-defense force, air self-defense force, and they had been chasing a UFO off the coast of Japan, and they had some radar locks on it, and the report had specific information that they had targeted it with their radar. They hadn't apparently gotten very close to it, but they had radar confirmation of what they were chasing.
As far as the UFO phenomenon, what is your opinion on what the military knows?
In my opinion, the military knows quite a bit about what's going on. I don't think my sighting was the only one. I think our involvement, or the military's involvement, it goes beyond what most people can even imagine. It kind of scares me, to be honest with you.
On location on the Big Island, Hawaii, as I speak with Dr. Michael Salla in regards to anti-gravity and alien technology that's been suppressed for years. Did Admiral Wilson seek the truth in regards to the reverse engineered alien technology project? Get ready for new breaking news in regards to the new leaked memo right now at Third Phase of Moon.
I want to get to the point of the 2002 meeting with Dr. Eric Davis and Admiral Tom Wilson in regards to their efforts to find out about the program of reverse engineered alien tech.
In October of 2002, Admiral Tom Wilson met with a scientist, Dr. Eric Davis, about a meeting that occurred in 1997. And at this 1997 meeting, Admiral Wilson, he actually got information about a classified program that was run by a corporation. And he learned that this program involved the reverse engineering of an extraterrestrial spacecraft. And so when he demanded access, he had to go through a whole process to try and get access. And ultimately, he had to meet with 3 officials from this corporation that called themselves the Watch Committee. And they were the ones that made the decision as to who would be getting access to this program. And ultimately, he was denied access by this corporation. And so he was furious about that. And so he went actually up through the chain of command and went to another committee within the Pentagon demanding that he be given access. And this committee is the Special Access Program Oversight Committee, which is run by the Pentagon, and the same thing happened. They basically backed the corporation. So that basically showed the power of the corporation in terms of how it could control access to this program to reverse engineer extraterrestrial technology, and even people in the Pentagon could not be given access to it, and that there was this committee in the Pentagon that was backing this, that was supporting that process.
Did the private corporation, along with the Pentagon, not trust Admiral Wilson for some reason?
Basically, this oversight committee within the Pentagon backed the corporation that they did not trust Admiral Wilson. In other words, they did not think he was the sort of person that would fulfill whatever security protocols they had in place for having access to this special access program involving reverse engineering extraterrestrial technologies, which shows that no matter who you are, no matter what office you have or hold, no matter what rank you have within the military, if these committees and if this corporation decides that you don't have the right character, that you will not be given access to this. And by character, what we're talking about is someone that is willing to go along with the kind of unconstitutional process by which these kinds of programs are managed within the corporations, and basically the Pentagon committees support that.
So what do you think actually this private corporation was hiding from us and Admiral Wilson himself?
Because Admiral Wilson, as the Deputy Director of the Defense Intelligence Agency, would have had oversight and detailed knowledge of a lot of special access programs that were being run within the Pentagon, including programs to do with secret spacecraft that had been developed by the US Air Force, by the NRO, and that the Defense Intelligence Agency was involved in. So he would have known a lot about these kinds of programs. So the Pentagon does have a secret space program where the Air Force and the Defense Intelligence Agency, the NRO, collaborate in putting up a lot of advanced technology into Earth orbit. So Wilson, I think, would have been very knowledgeable about that program back in 1997, because they had things up there. But the corporation didn't want to give him access to this particular program because they said that this involved reverse engineering, extraterrestrial technologies, that they were having difficulty in kind of making progress in understanding how the technology was working, which I think was just a cover, that they didn't want him to have any information about this, because I think what they were truly hiding was that there is an actual corporate-run secret space program which is using these advanced extraterrestrial technologies to basically reverse engineer some really advanced technologies that the corporations use for their secret space program. So basically, I think what was going on was that this corporation didn't want Admiral Wilson to get access to that particular program, because they did not want him or the Defense Intelligence Agency knowing about this corporate-run secret space program that was basically being created out of this reverse-engineered alien technology that they were keeping secret even from the Pentagon and the Defense Intelligence Agency.
So whatever happened to Admiral Wilson? Where is he today?
When Admiral Wilson learned about this program in April 1997, he looked into it, he made inquiries, and ultimately he was denied access. And so in the process, he was threatened because he was pushing too hard to find out what this corporation was doing with this alien technology. He pushed too hard, he was threatened that he would lose 1 or 2 stars if he continued down that vein. So ultimately he basically backed off and just realized that he couldn't get access to this program. This basically led to him a few years later being promoted to become the director of the Defense Intelligence Agency, and that was a position he held up until the middle of 2002. And when he retired, then he had this meeting with Eric Davis to basically go over what had happened when he tried to gain access. And subsequently after that, he then went into retirement, where he became vice president for some corporation, and obviously continues to work in the private sector, using that inside knowledge he has about the way in which these special access programs are run to help that corporation win Pentagon contracts and so forth, which is how a lot of these senior officials do quite well after they retire.
Can you give us the actual name of this private corporation that tried to block the information from Admiral Wilson?
What we know about the corporation that blocked access to Admiral Wilson, in this transcript of the meeting he had with Eric Davis in 2002, he just basically refers to it as the top corporation out there. So to me, that's a sign that this is probably Lockheed Martin's Skunk Works division, that was the particular corporation and the think tank that was trying to reverse engineer this alien technology and to use that for building future types of spacecraft that Lockheed Martin would be able to use. And it makes a lot of sense, because in 1997, the former head of Lockheed Martin's Skunk Works division, Ben Rich was basically saying that Skunk Works had developed technology to take ET home. And so he was giving lectures where he was making this kind of off-the-cuff comment at the end of the lecture, showing a slide of a UFO. So it makes sense that this was Lockheed Martin, that they had denied access to Admiral Wilson at that time. And it wouldn't surprise me that after Wilson retired from the Defense Intelligence Agency, that Lockheed Martin probably thought that Wilson was the sort of guy that would actually make a good addition to their board of directors and offered him a vice president's position.
So what's your thoughts? Why is this information coming out now in the major media and everywhere else in regards to the UFO phenomenon?
I think the reason this is happening right now is that basically there is an effort to try and get the public up to general speed on these issues concerning some of the reverse engineered alien technologies and the secret spacecraft that have been built by the Air Force and by corporations that are actually in use right now secretly. Because Space Force, that is actually in the process of being created right now, the defense committees within both the House of Representatives and the Senate have actually approved the passage of Space Force.
I want to get your guys' opinions from around the world. What do you think about Michael Salla's statements in regards to Admiral Wilson being blocked by the Pentagon and this secret corporation in regards to alien reverse engineered tech? I want to get your comments below. Thanks for joining us from around the world. Everybody, keep your eyes on the skies. We're not alone.